Welcome to the Creation Station. Today on Impromptu Review, we'll be talking about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yes, it is Shang-Chi. I watched it with my wife, and I have to say I enjoyed it quite a bit. The I don't know that I was expecting too much. I mean, not familiar with the character too much. I think I had heard of it, him before. Um, Never read any of the comics or anything. Um, most of my comic knowledge is more on the more mainstream characters like Spider-Man, Thor, things like that. Um, but yeah, it was a good movie. Um, Marvel movie, pretty standard fare. If people are worried about the going into this next phase of the MCU, I don't think they have too much to worry about. Now, I know this is a lesser character, and there seems to be a lot of lesser characters coming out. Um, After all, they seem to be checking their check boxes for the diversity and inclusion initiative. And probably they're doing it under Disney's um, efforts. Um, but I don't think we have too much to worry about if they all are similar to this. Now, Marvel movies aren't always big blockbusters. Some are hit or miss, or although some of them I think are better than people say they are. Um, this one was probably right up there with some of them, the good ones. Uh, but the next one may not be quite as good. The two main characters had really great chemistry together. I um, really liked them, and going to look forward to seeing them in other shows, movies. Movies. Um, the sister with Shang Chi, they didn't quite seem to sibling didn't seem very close, but it kind of makes sense when you see the plot that they're not close. Although there's still, it felt like there could have been a little bit more between them. Um, but they weren't bad. Um, like I said, it actually makes sense in the plot that they weren't seem real close. Um, there's one character, one of the henchmen, big white guy, blade coming out of his arm. He didn't have a lot of speaking parts, but it felt like he had a lot of personality and character. And I hope we get to see him again. I don't know if he is. I mean, I don't think he's really a named character in the Marvel universe, but maybe he is. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments. Anyways, yeah, he was great. I hope to see him again and more of him. And then there was, I don't want to really say that, but there were some other fun characters that they met along the way that come along with him. The dad, he was definitely interesting. You could see he definitely had a character arc throughout this whole movie. I'd almost say it's the biggest one, but yeah, almost. Our main character, I don't know really what to think about. Like a whole arc. Like, yeah, his father had more of an arc in this story than than Shang-Chi actually did. But yeah, that's it for characters. And movie definitely had like 3 acts in it. and I would say the second act would be the weakest one, but yet it kind of linked the other two together, since there was a lot of exposition. It wasn't like straight up exposition, but we got a lot of information, and the action slowed down a little bit um, in that second act. But it, as I said, without that information and stuff, we wouldn't be able to get to the third act. There's a lot of backstory and information that needs to be given, and it wasn't done in a boring way. I mean, watching it, I didn't even think about it. Just sitting here now, I'm thinking back on it. That's kind of how it was. I mean, the first act, we get to know the characters, we get to see their regular daily lives, and that's kind of fun. Now we get action there too. Don't think we don't. Action comedy, and it was pretty good. With both. Now I don't know super a lot about all these characters and stuff, and this movie made kind of fun of the Mandarin again, um, and what I know, about the 10 rings, these aren't quite the rings that I remembered from how the story goes. I mean, they were literally supposed to be rings like you put on your finger, and they had stones which gave different powers and stuff. Well, this was done totally different, and I mean, I liked it. I liked how they, um, main character's dad. I can't remember his name. Too many Chinese names. I just got the main character's name down. I really have to sit down and remember everybody else's. But the way he uses the rings to fight and stuff was pretty cool. It's interesting, sending out like a pulse wave, and it's kind of a punch at the same time. It's almost like a rocket punch. Boom. But it was unique with doing that. But I think, and I have a theory that I'll probably save for the end. So, because it may be a spoiler, I don't know. If my theory is right, it would be a spoiler. But yeah, so the rings were a bit different. I liked how they were used, despite the change, and you know, changes aren't bad if they work and they're good. In this case, it works, and also, if my theory's right, it works even better for that. Um, but yeah, and yeah, the movie has had quite the climactic ending, I must say. Uh, you start off, and I'm not sure. I think they were in, like, I didn't catch what city they were in at the beginning of it. Um, but you're in a modern city. The movie starts off in the modern city, and you end up totally different by the end. Although, I'm thinking that most Marvel movies have gone that way. By the end of the movie, it goes to a really fantastical place. I won't say much more about that. That could ruin a little bit of the surprise at the end. Um, but yeah, if you have any doubts about this movie, don't. It's good. Go watch it. Um, and yes, it is in theaters only. So please, if you can and it's safe, go to the theater and watch it. You know, vote essentially with your wallet, telling these studios that, yeah, we still want movie theaters. If you're stuck waiting for it to come on streaming, which, that's fine. Wait a couple months and put these movies on streaming for people to watch. But if you're stuck without, can't get out to go watch it, um, you have something to look forward to. try not to get spoiled too much by all the other stuff, which means don't watch the end of this video because I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Okay, so yeah. In fact, tune out now because I think I'm going to talk about it right now. So for now, creativity is key. If you're not staying around for the end, I'll say goodbye for now. Bye. Yeah, the ending, I don't know if people are too familiar with the Naruto anime manga, but this movie had a very Naruto feel to it. I'll say that. What I mean by that, we start off with fighting pretty basic stuff, fighting like Naruto would be ninjas fighting, using their special techniques, and at least there's a couple arcs in there where the ninja fighting turns into giant kaiju battles, monster fights. This had an air of that, and I didn't unappreciate that. Now some people might, but I didn't. It was really cool though. So regarding my theory, the end there, the very end, the end scene, teaser scene, I guess you could call it, because there was actually two scenes. There was one immediately before the credits started rolling, and one after the credits. The one after the credits wasn't quite a surprise, I would say. Oh yes, the 10 rings are back. His sister's taking it over. Not a big surprise. Some things in the movie kind of teased towards that, but I mean, it was great seeing the other characters in the first scene, one before the credits. But what I find most interesting is that the rings are sending off a signal, and it was triggered by him putting the rings on. I'm like, okay, well, you have to know a little bit more about this kind of series and stuff in the Marvel universe, or in the comics, I should say. Now, like I said, I don't have a lot of knowledge, but I know a little bit through some of the Iron Man stuff I had heard and seen, and because the Mandarin was essentially one of Iron Man's biggest enemies. There's kind of this technology versus magic theme I think they had going on in the comics, where that's pretty much where the Mandarin was. He had these magic rings and whatnot. And I don't remember how, but there is Fing Fang Foom. He is a evil space dragon, and he's somehow connected to all this. And I think that might be what is being signaled by the rings. And if so, I think it makes much more sense that these rings are not finger-sized rings, unless you're a big, huge dragon. So maybe that's why the rings are so big, because they're going to be for the big dragon. And yes, this is not the same type of dragon that was in the movie earlier in the movie. The Chinese dragon that was the guardian deity or thing. So yeah, that's what I'm suspicious of. Don't know. Just saying. Those are my ideas. That would be kind of cool. So yeah. Have anything else to say other than go watch the movie? Nope. Go watch the movie if you can. Alright, so that's it from the Creation Station here. Remember, creativity is key, and I'll see you again.